Yes, welcome to the workshop again for the latest update into what we've been doing since we had the car rolling outside. We went for another long spin, threw all the kids in the back and went for a spin up around on the private roads. I haven't brought it out onto the main road yet, so it'd be nice. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like on tarmac rather than hearing it trundle over gravel and be able to hear all the whines and grumps, squeaks and grumbles and whines and everything it does. So what have we done since then? Been doing a bit of tuning of the control board. Been a few problems with it where if I plugged in the USB, it was kind of kicking out, wasn't behaving itself, and tracked it down to the two separate USB wires coming off it. That you can eventually put in a diagnostic sort of USB point on the dash, but it seemed to be causing a bit of grief, so I'm going to diagnose what's going wrong with that at a later date. So for now I've just cut them back and everything's good. Everything's running well. I'll show you quickly here the setup we have. So kind of putting everything back together, but it's nicely set up now where I can switch on the control board, the VCU, and there's a shunt in there as well by this. So I'll flick that on. That brings on the board, so it's got control of everything there, and then you just go and flick the ignition on, and then you can go and drive away. I just haven't got the battery connected up yet, that's why I'm not doing anything here, but that's it. Knock that off. That's the master switch. Gone off. So with that, and we're running happily. The battery's sitting at I can bring up the web-based interface, and I can see that it's sitting at 360 volts. So 380 is pretty much the max, so it's sitting still at about 50% charge, but we want to get it charged up. So that's what's next. So I went shopping and I went online, because the first thing I'm going to need is a charger, like a domestic on the wall charger. So I got this. This is the Zappi Eco EV charging point. It's a Type 1, which is all I need right now. Type 1. Because I have a Type 1 connector here, and I'm not going to be doing demo straight away. So I just wanted to get some standard phase 1 charging going on. So yeah, I managed to pick that up for a nice price. It was a kind of a stock clearance. Guess no one's looking for the Type 1s anymore. So yeah, brilliant. That arrived in a week. So we have a charger. I'll get that hooked up to the mains, have that ready to go. We have a plug. Where does plug go to, you ask? Well, it goes into a Tesla Gen 2 charger, which kicks out 10 kilowatts. Plus EV BMW, Damien Maguire's EV BMW logic board in there as well. I've already swapped out the original. I've flashed this one with the V4 firmware and put in the settings, so that's all ready to go. Then what you have here is your AC comes in here, so your single phase comes in from the plug, comes in through junction box into here, and your DC comes out of here and into the battery, and off it charges. There's some control wiring here I need to do. I've got the plugs and all that for that, and it's water cooled. So because I'm going to have this sitting in the boot, and it's going to be kind of a sort of a test bed, I may or may not use this. It's just to see if it works, and if it does, then I'll have to plumb some hose front and rear to the cooling system, but I'll sort that out later. Just want to get some charge in the battery first, then we'll decide. So yeah, on the back of that, so we'll have a look where it's going to go. We're going to go all the way down the boot, and we've got another toy. This is a junction box from a Model S. Again, sort of on loan just to get me out of a hole. So what I'm gonna have here is the plug there. It's gonna come down. It's gonna come through here through the hole. Your AC comes in here. Your neutral and your live in. It'll be grounded on the chassis and the frame, the chassis of this and the car. So it comes in. So and then here is where your I think it's the AC. Yeah, the AC. Blah, 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 comes through here into the charger. Charger's going to sit on top. Then your DC comes out here, in here, and then you can see here. Just turn you around. You have B minus and B plus. So that goes straight back into your battery. Now what I'm able to do is, lucky enough, because the way I've set it up here, I've got my service disconnect, so I'll be able to just remove one of those, the wire going back to the, I think the, let me think, positive. Yes, positive. Bring it in here, and then negative can go back into the service disconnect and complete the circuit. So that's that in there. So what I'll have is, I've just got the lid of the charger here. That then will sit kind of on top. Those cables will return and go in there, and the signaling wire will come out the back and be dealt with back there. So that's all to do. So there's not a lot to do there because I've got kind of the logical stuff done. I just need to do the mechanical, do a bit of plug fitting in, and then the final thing I've been kind of toying with but hadn't made any progress on was this thing, which was the DC converter out of the leaf. I just need to do some PWM on that, because what you do is you throw in your high voltage here, and then you have 12 volt signal, turn it on, and you need I think it's 10 hertz, well, PWM, 10 volts. What is it? I can't remember. I have it written down here. Somewhere. 10 volt PWM, 9 hertz on pin 1. And then your 12 volts comes out here. I just haven't concentrated on it. So I came into one here. Water cooled. It's out of Ford Transit Connect. Again, just to see if it works, if it suits me. Job here is you have your high voltage comes in here, plus your signal trigger wire, plus 12 volts, and your negative coolant. This, I think, I do have room underneath the junction box here, as far as I know. Yeah, where's my torch? I'm getting better at finding torches these days. So yeah, I've got a lot of space underneath there. I should be able to mount it down there. In here in the junction box, bit of a change here. I've got the shunt all cabled up. Well, it's not completely cabled up. Just have that disconnected at the moment. That'll feed back my voltage, current, and all that, and hopefully give me a lot of data. Bit of wiring to connect to tidy up here, but most of it is all tidied up now in the junction box. Let's see, there's nothing else really new in here. Some extra cables somebody gave me. Decided I need them. So yeah, I've got this as well. This is just a voltmeter. I'm gonna have it sitting in here, just in the box, so you'll be able to see. It'll be on the far side of the contactor, just to show when there's actually voltage there and what it is on that point as well. Just a little something to add in, and that's it for now. It's just a small update, but what I'll do is I might as well just start connecting it up. Yeah, and then I'll run some coolant front to aft, like an old school S1 Quattro style, with the radiators in the back, or S200 or S2000. Loads of them had it. Pretty sure that Peugeot 205 T16 had it in the boot as well, and the Lancia S1. Anyway, I'll group these. So that is it. Let's do a bit of wiring up. And that's basically how that goes. Here's what we have. So already I had the AC coming in. I checked the size of those wires. I know that that's what out of a Nissan Leaf. For now for testing, but I may upgrade those. I just need to double check that. The earth still needs to be strapped to this. I've got this coming in. Here is the proximity and the other cable, which I'll plug into that. That's coming out there. I'm gonna have to make up. I've got plugs for these, but I'm gonna make up new ones because the way I'm gonna run the charger will sit across here, so they just need to extend so I can plug them into the end. I've got the two plugs made up to control and power the charger. That's how it's all laid out at the moment. I got my 12 volt ignition from, there's the ABS ECU is in the back here, so I just spliced a 12 volt switched ignition from that, and I've got other 12 volt and ground and the control pilot and proximity in there, which go out to the plug. So that's where I am, and it's all in now. So we have our you have to reverse this because this naturally sits the other way around when it's in the Tesla. So this is your DC, that's your AC, that's in, plugs are in, that's in, everything's earthed, that's earthed to the junction box, which is earthed to the car. 12 volts there. I just need to connect with the proximity one here. New toy to help with the charging of this fella. So I've been scouring around looking for a EVSC, which is just your domestic charging station, and I managed to, you can pay up to 1,500, 2 grand, whatever, or you can get open source units for about 500 or 600 quid, which are brilliant. But I stumbled across this, which was, it's type 1 Zappi, which was sort of a stock clearance that was going on, and they'd reduced it down to, geez, it was sub 250. So I said, right, give it a shot. I guess no one's really buying type 1 J1772 connectors, so they're clearing the stocks. So I said, right, get one of these, because I've decided I'm going to put the type 1 into this for the moment to be able to connect up to the Gen 2 charger, Tesla charger, and just to get it charging for the moment. And I can easily swap it out to a type 2 at a later date. Put this down here. So then, there we go. We have a type 1 socket, plug, brilliant, tethered. It's good because it all, when you're wrapping it up, it all wraps up and stays on the case itself. So let's just unravel this. Sweet. Okay. So there's your port entry. This is going to be mounted outside as well as inside. Should be, I suppose, IP65 rated, I guess. But yeah, so there it is. Nice piece of kit. That'll allow me to charge the old Audi up. Excellent. What way is that sit? It's like yeah, like so. B. Okay, we swapped out the driver's side shock because it was bad. You can see it'd been leaking all that, and it was fairly springy. But I didn't realize how bad it was. That's the old one. That's like there's nothing in it. When we took it out of the strut, it was just filled with. Obviously, it had just been. Just got rid of all its what you call it. It got rid of all its fluid, and it's just shot to pieces. So that's done. I went to change the passenger side one, and peculiar because you always change when you change one, you change the other. Whatever happened, previous owner changed the passenger one very recently before I got it. I didn't change the driver's side. I don't know. So I have it. I changed it anyway. So I didn't want to bore you to tears with that escapade, but it took a while. The nut on top of the strut there was bet on, so it was heat, pressure, everything to get it off. So that's done. Hopefully it won't be as bouncy on the road anymore. Another thing I was looking at, the drop links. These are pretty bad. So they're toast. And they would have been failed anyway. Once I brought this to the car test, they would have failed those straight away. Luckily, I've been amassing an arsenal of parts for the Quattro here. And I had some spare ones from like 10 years ago. I bought them to do that, and the guy accidentally sent me 2 sets, so I have a spare set, and these are perfect size. So fitted, perfect. Yeah. So we'll crack on to the other side. Number 2 done. It's great getting done because it only takes 2 minutes. This one I think was replaced. It's a strange one because the shock on this side was shot. Yeah, this was replaced probably a few years ago. The other side, shock replaced, and the drop link was in towers. Very confusing. You should do both. Top tip: only tighten up your drop links when you've got the car back on all fours. So leave them just hand tight. Let it all drop down, because otherwise you're at risk of ripping the rubber boots. So luckily enough, I was digging around and outside in the crap I got rid of from the car, and I found this. This is the original sort of weather seal from the old petrol tank, and I wanted to find this because it's kind of a dual wall in here, and it isn't sealed up. There's the gap in between the outer and the inner shell, and that's just wide open into the boot. So I said, dig around, and I found it. I was like, okay, cool. So the thing is, that's exactly the right aperture for that. And what I can do is I can create a frame that sits in behind this. So then you can bolt in the 4 holes into there. In turn, that kind of frame will all have it fixed to fixed to here, 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 and here. So yeah. Hey, I'm always up for a challenge. Here is our latest in fabrication land to put the DC to DC converter down there. So come over here. This already has a few, has 4 mounting points on it. So with that scrap metal, I was able to do this. So, and to fix it, decided to fix it to the end of the rail here. So it'll go just like a sleeve over those 2. Now it will, it's just a bit tight, but it will go in there. So all that junction box will sit there. We can have, because the motor is the last point, so the coolant system runs to inverter first, then motor. So what I can do is I can have it going, it's going into motor here. I can actually have it coming going into here first, motor, and out. So in here, out there, into motor, and then the rest. So it gives plenty of room. What I'll be doing is I'll be putting a bit of extra height on the junction box. So it'll sit up like so. He's sitting in there, so we'll have enough room for the high voltage here, plus the control pins, and then your 12 volts comes out there, which will go back to the battery, and that is your alternator, in a way. Okay, today is D-Day. I'm going to see if this thing charges. I did do one test. A cheap little Chinese voltmeter I had up front went to pop, but I think it just didn't have something wired, so I've wired everything correctly. Gonna roll the car out, spin around, try and charge. So the car's running great, reliably starting up and doing its thing, which is cool. Zappi all wired up, it's all good. Shows a big happy smiley face when it's getting PV from the roof, which is a nice touch. So, let's go for it again. Let's get this straightened up. Yeah, I've been away for a few days, so I kind of left it. It was kind of good just to get away from it and just think about stuff other than this car. Not that I hate it, it's just I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Okay, here we are. The thing here is, at the moment, to get the timing right. Don't have cooling in at the moment, but it should be okay for just testing purposes. It's like that. Plug ready. It's all rigged up. 32-amp breaker. So I believe you go charger on first and then plug this in. And it's charging. This lights on. This is charging 1.1 kilowatts. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug the laptop in, so I don't want to get it too hot. Okay, we're going to go for a little drive. Little one. great. Pretty soft actually. So that is it. Load of video footage that I don't know how long back it goes, but managed to stitch it all together. I was reviewing it going, I shouldn't leave it this long again. I need to really, you know, keep on that. I'm just after getting off the phone with the local engineer because we're at a really good point now, so he's going to come back and hopefully sign us off next Monday. Hopefully he doesn't find anything that's too against the grain. But from the first meeting it's pretty good. So after that then it's straight to the NCT and they want to check, do your lights work, do your wipers work, does it stop? The braking thing I just need to double check. I think it's the brake accumulator is the reason why the braking was a bit, the pedal was very hard, wasn't doing much. So normally you'd run the engine for, after you've done a complete flush of the fluid, you'd let the engine run for like 10 minutes just with the pump going. So I'm going to do the same with this later on today. Leave the pump running 10 minutes, see if the accumulator sort of builds up pressure, and then we can go and do another test. So that is it. It's again, apologies for the delay, won't be that long next time. What are we going to do? Yes, next up, I mean, it's going to be running on the road. So for now, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Do more of that to people because I think more people should be seeing this type of thing, seeing what we can do with vehicles that might go to the scrapyard. That, like, just because they have an expired engine doesn't mean they should go to the scrap heap. They should live on. You can do this. Like my A6 there, could easily do it on that. That does 3,000 miles a year. It does nothing. It's a runaround. That's what this is going to become. And so it's like, that's all we need. I mean, the 24 kilowatt hour pack in this is perfect. So we need to be like looking at the circular economy around this a lot more closely as in the current climate we're in, and no pun intended. And so we just need to get more action on doing stuff like this. We don't need a lot more new electric cars. We can upcycle. There's a lot more used kit coming on the market that we can reuse and do stuff like this. Build kits for specific kind of car platforms. So yeah, that's enough of me waffling. Until next time, thanks again for watching.